破我执方见真实空。巴夏时间观与龙树缘起性空的究竟之别。Breaking the clinging to self to perceive true time and space. The fundamental difference between Bashar's view of time and Nagarjuna's Pratiti Samiti Atta. When the modern spiritual circle is abuzz with Bashar's nonlinear time concept, many are astounded by ideas like the present is the sole point of creation and switching parallel realities. Yet, there always lingers a subtle sense of incompleteness, a lack of ultimate clarity. This sense of dissatisfaction precisely points to the core divide between Buddhist Dharma and non-Buddhist views. Whether one can break free from Sakaya Drasti and attain the realization of Pratiti Yasamyutipada, Shunyata, the true reality of time and space, already elucidated by Nagarjuna in the Mulamadhyamaka, stands in stark contrast to Bashar's teachings, with the root of this difference lying in the presence or absence of clinging to the self. Let us unfold this through two sets of metaphors, progressing step by step to reveal the ultimate truth. First, the dense cake and black sesame seed to illustrate the non-duality of the one and the whole in dependent origination. Then the Indra's net of pearls to embody the interpenetrating perfection of the Dharma realm. Imagine the entire universe of time and space as a dense cake where flour, cream, and frosting blend into an indivisible whole. The black sesame seed embedded deep within the cake represents Sakaya Dastrati, the deeply ingrained delusion of all sentient beings. Bashar's core view of time corresponds to this cognition. He asserts that the black sesame seed is the sole core of the cake, and every cut that divides time and space must pass precisely through this seed. From his perspective, linear time is an illusion. All time and space are condensed in the present. By simply shifting one's consciousness frequency, one can switch between parallel realities, much like wielding a knife to cut the cake freely around the sesame seed. The cuts can change flexibly with consciousness turning, yet the sesame seed, as the substantial self fulcrum, never wavers. His emphasis on the present as the only center of creation essentially presupposes the existence of a substantial subject self that can switch frequencies and control reality. This self serves as the origin of time and space, the reference point for all distinctions, and is never truly deconstructed. Thus, it remains trapped within the Buddhist rejected Sakaya Daschi, the clinging to the aggregate physical and mental skandhas as an eternal independent self.
When we break the dualistic opposition between core and accessory, we realize that the black sesame seed is inherently part of the dense cake, inseparable from the flour and cream, with no fundamental distinction between them. The cake is dense and sneezes. The sesame seed is embedded within it, impossible to separate in isolation. A sesame seed removed from the cake is no longer the sesame seed in the cake, just as a cake stripped of its sesame seed is no longer the cake with sesame seeds. Translating this into the reality of time and space, it means that the self is not a center fulcrum independent of time and space, but an emergent manifestation of dependent co-arising with all phenomena in the universe. At this stage, the cuts dividing the cake are no longer anchored to the sesame seed. Every cut is a temporary manifestation of the cake as a whole. Turning around swaps front and back. The flow of thoughts transforms past, present, and future. Past, present, and future are merely contingent designation, with no fixed boundaries. In this step, we break free from clinging to the substantial ego and touch upon the threshold of Nagarjuna's pratiti asamutiti asamutit. All phenomena arise from causes and conditions, lacking inherent existence. Level 3. Nagarjuna's ultimate perspective. Neither the dense cake nor the black sesame seed possess inherent existence. N. Nagarjuna states in the Mulamadhyamik Karika chapter on examining time, if the present and future exist dependent on the past, then the present and future would be in the past. If the present and future do not exist dependent on the past, then neither the present nor the future could be established. Therefore, the two times do not exist. The core of this passage is apexa. All phenomena are established through mutual dependence, lacking any substantial intrinsic nature. Corresponding to the metaphor of the dense cake, this means we cease clinging to both the sesame seed and the cake as a whole, as having inherent existence. The cake is a product of dependent aggregation, flour, water, sugar, and heat. The sesame seed is a result of dependent growth, seed, soil, and sunlight. Neither possesses an eternal, unchanging intrinsic nature. The so-called time and space are merely conceptual designation based on the arising, abiding, and ceasing of all phenomena. Apart from causes and conditions, time and space have no substantial existence whatsoever. Furthermore, though, breaking clinging is not annihilation. We can still use past, present, future, and front, back, left, right in daily life. Yet our minds do not cling to these concepts as having fixed intrinsic nature. This is the middle way of not negating conventional truth, not clinging to ultimate truth, Nagarjuna's ultimate wisdom that transcends all extremes.
If the dense cake symbolizes non-duality of the one and the whole, then Indra's net of pearls embodies the perfection of the Dharma realm, a view more expansive than Nagarjuna Saka Sutra. As described in the sutra, the palace of Shakra hangs a jeweled net adorned with 1,000 luminous pearls. So arranged in order, there is no barrier between the pearls. Each pearl radiates brilliant light. One pearl reflects the images of all 1,000 pearls, and all 1,000 pearls are contained within one pearl. Every pearl interreflects with every other, infinitely without end. This is the Dharma realm reality of one is all is one. At this stage, we can set aside the dense cake metaphor, for the cake still carries the trace of clinging to a whole, while Indra's net of pearls completely transcends the distinction between one and many. Every pearl is neither a core nor a part, but a holographic manifestation of the entire Dharma realm. Just as you put it, the sesame seed contains the information of all other parts of the cake. One pearl embraces 1,000 pearls. One sword contains all dharmas. The distance between pearls is not a dividing boundary, but a channel of interpenetration. The interval of time and space is essentially an expression of the Dharma realm's perfection, where the past contains the present and future, and this place embraces the 10 directions of the womb. The radiance of the pearls is not light belonging to themselves alone, but light mutually shining upon one another, just as the self of sentient beings is not an independent existence, but an emergent manifestation interdependent with all dharmas in the Dharma realm. At this level, Bashar's switching parallel realities appears limited. He remains confined to the perspective of one pearl switching its view, while the wisdom of Indra's net of pearls lies in seeing through that all perils are inherently one in mutual reflection, and switching perspectives is itself the wonderful function of the Dharma realm's perfection. Final conclusion: the fourfold leap from self-centeredness to Dharma realm perfection. Bashar's view: a self-centered spatio-temporal game, clinging to one pearl's perspective to switch realities. Cake middle way: non-duality of one and whole after breaking self-clinging. Nagarjuna's wisdom: middle way of no inherent existence. Time and space are mere conceptual designations. Huayan's perfection: one is all is one. Time, space, and self are inherently unified. From Basha to Huayan, the core difference is whether to break the clinging to the self that can switch. Only by letting go of the self-fulcrum can we enter the ultimate reality. The entire universe is nothing but the manifestation of one's own nature.